It's Thankful Thursday. Today's reading's all about how much we have to be grateful for. Thankful Thursday. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. It always is. We open up our Bible every single morning, and there it is. Exactly what we need on the day we need it. At least that certainly is the way it works for me. And I trust that's the way it works for you too. Or you wouldn't still be here listening with us, tuning in. God's so good to us. He gives us exactly what we need when we need it. He is good that way. Good morning. Hey, there we go. Get my volume turned down. Good morning, Cassie. Good morning. Good morning. Melissa's on with us and our Debbie's on with us. Good morning. Good morning. Boy, it's been quite a week. Quite a journey in this Bible study. For me, man, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Hi, Nancy. I love Thursdays too, Cassie. There's Mama Mary. Grateful for my Mama Mary. Very thankful. I'm thankful for every one of you. We read through the Bible together, 1 Year Bible. We use the Tyndale version, New Living Translation. I encourage every one of you to get one of those 1 Year Bibles. That's what this one looks like. I use one that's pretty old, getting kind of worn. I've got so many notes and stuff in it that I don't ever want to give this up. Better be careful, huh? Can't get too attached to anything. But they've got lots of different covers to them, but we read all the way through the Bible in a year. When you start in January and go through December 31st, you've read from cover to cover through the Bible in a year. Then you've done it year after year, and man, things just start like the book of Joshua this year. Of course, it's applicable for my life today. It always is every year. It's been, I don't know, 22, 23, maybe 24 years that Tom and I have been reading all the way through the Bible like this, and it never ceases to amaze me how it applies to life for that moment, for that year. And this week is no exception. I talked earlier this week about how there just seemed to be a fog on me. I don't even, I mean, there was a lot of things. A lot of things. In life there's a lot of things, and I choose to speak about it because I know I'm not the only one. I mean, the enemy would love to convince me that I'm the only one, but that's one of his tools he uses to isolate us, and if he can isolate us, quite frankly, he can destroy us. So I choose to talk about it to encourage you to find your answers in the daily word each day, to find your encouragement, especially when those things come, because nobody's immune to it. The Bible tells us that we'll have trials, we'll have tribulations, we'll have persecutions that come against us. And this word is the very fuel that we need to get through it. It's the very sustenance for life. It's the food we have that brings our body the energy to get through those trials. It's the hope of our very existence. It opens us up to hear God speak directly to us in the path of whatever we're facing, whatever it is that we're facing. So powerful. And I praise God, I'm not facing life and death situations. I'm not facing catastrophe. I mean, on the grand scope of things, honestly, the enemy could probably, stand a better chance to get me to be quiet about it on the premise that on the grand scale of things, I'm not going through anything compared to other people's problems, or even compared to problems I've faced. But it's real life. It's real life. I get up, and because I live my life for a purpose, it's his purpose. I want to accomplish what he set forth before me to do. And when the stink bugs come, they're coming to distract me. I wasn't expecting to see you. They come to distract me. They come to derail me, to get me off into the ditch over here or into the ditch over here. And when that happens, and it starts stealing our joy. And if he steals our joy, then he steals our strength. And if he steals our strength, then the strongholds start. And the next thing you know, you're way off into the ditch. Yeah. So put your prayer requests in the comments. We help steer each other between the bumper pads that God put on the narrow road we have to help keep us out of the ditch. Our prayers help each other. I'm telling you what, the other morning when I asked y'all to pray for me, I instantly felt those prayers. I know this community immediately prayed. I know there's those of you like Eileen and Cassie and Paul and Dolores and those that are on with us. Did I say Nancy and Sherry and our Debbies? And I know that as soon as I said it, you guys started praying. And I felt it before I was ever off of the video. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So put your prayer requests in your comments, and we put it in this book right here. It's already dated. We already have, I don't know, 6 or 7 prayer requests down of people we're praying for. Kadri's already scrolling through the comments to write them down. We'll pray for Paul, Cassie, Renee and her son. There seems to be a bug going around. Donna had been suffering from that bug and she's still recuperating. We've been praying for her. We want to pray. We count it a joy and an honor, an extreme honor that you guys would allow us to pray faith-filled prayers for those things that concerned you. So thank you for doing that. And we love to rejoice together with the praise reports. When you put the we write down the praise reports as well. So, okay, with that, let's get started because it's like this week is wrapping up for me. We're in April 17th, Joshua chapter 15. We do these Bible studies 7 days a week, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And then the noon nuggets are at noon Central Standard Time, where we pick one topic, one scripture that we focus on to meditate on from the daily reading. I've been very open about these stink bugs. They weren't really big ones. A heaviness. I've got some family members struggling. I've got some close family members struggling in some, one of those situations that if I could just take the struggle from them and take it on myself, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all know what I mean. It's nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun. I've got other family members having some physical struggles, some test reports that are not yet life-threatening, but without the intervention of God, they could be life-threatening. I've got family members with financial struggles. And then on top of it, I'm in a harvest season. I've got blessings that are overtaking us. I mean, good things are happening, but when that happens, your schedule gets full. You get pulled in a million different directions. I have a tendency to overload my schedule. I know there's people on here that's shocked that happens. I get a little tired. It's easier to get distracted. So I'm just giving you an idea. And the reason I give you an idea is so that you can relate. So it's relatable to anybody that may be logging in to this Bible study. And then on Monday, we were reading in the book of Joshua, and it was all about the promised land. They've entered in. They crossed over the Jordan River. They're there. They've been hearing about the promised land for over 40 years. God's promises. Honestly, they've probably in certain ways been hearing about it for generations, 400 years of slavery that they were crying out to God to deliver them into the promised land. Talk about stink bugs, talk about mindsets, talk about strongholds, talk about needing deliverance. It's all pictures of of many historical events that spiritually represent what we go through in our life today. So, promised land, the best of the best, prosperity, God's promises fulfilled. And yet, as we started out in Joshua chapters 9 and 10, they still had to fight. They still had to fight to possess the land. They had to fight to keep it. They had to fight to occupy it. Just because you're living in the promises, just because God is good, we still need him to get through the struggles. We still need him to get through the distractions, the things that'll pull us away. And there it was, right on the pages for me, I'm reading about they've entered in, and yet they had to fight these battles. And there was 10 of them. There was 10 of them spelled out, 10 battles fought and won on Monday. And then on Tuesday, Joshua 11 and 12, there were 15 kings. And God took the time to breathe and inspire somebody to write out the names of every king that was defeated. And when I saw that list of kings defeated, the things I enumerated for you this morning, I got a family member struggling. I've got family members with health issues. I've got struggles in the job. I've got struggles in the ministry. I've got struggles keeping things straight. I've got family members with financial problems. I've got I've got people calling on me for more. I had somebody at church ask for appointments for counseling that I'm not real sure how we're going to get on the calendar, but we will. All that comes in waves. It's like when one needs counseling, I've got many that needs counseling. Every one of those was one of those 15 kings that had to be defeated in order to continue to occupy and live in the land flowing with milk and honey. That was on Tuesday. The kings represented the things that disturbs us, our battles in our minds, that keeps us from the promised land. And this is leading up to something. Where we're no longer abiding. Our eyes are not on the things of Jesus, but the things of this world. We start focusing on those things instead of him, instead of being Christ-centered. And we don't even know what's happening. When I got on here and said, man, it's kind of, those little gnats are coming around. They're not real big stink bugs. I don't have any one thing. Those are little subtle things that'll distract us, that gets us, we're on the narrow road and man, things are going good. You're right smack dab in the center of that narrow road. But then all of a sudden you're veering closer and closer to the edge. You don't even know it. And then Wednesday, Joshua 13 and 14, all of a sudden Joshua's old, or it seems like all of a sudden, because we're reading the book of Joshua. And even though, it looks like it's the end. It looks like he ought to be too old to do anything. He's tired. He's worn out. They've been fighting all these battles, all these wars. He's been defeating all these kings, all these things coming against him. And then God tells him, oh yeah, you're growing old, but there's much more. Joshua, there's more for you. Much land remains to be conquered. There's more blessings, Joshua. I'm not finished with you yet. There's more work for you to do for me. And then in Luke chapter 18 on Wednesday, it starts right off in verse 1, says, always pray, never ever give up. A timely word. And then here we are on Thursday. We're in Joshua 15. And it's like it just all comes together for me. So I didn't give up. I continued to seek him. In fact, I got relief every single morning, and it got lighter and lighter, and lighter as in light, which is what our psalm says today. The Psalms today says, I've got it written down. I took notes today. The Psalm says, no, actually, it's the Proverbs. Proverbs 13:9. The life of the godly is full of light and joy, but it also got lighter in that the burden felt lighter. What I was feeling as a burden, because I wanted to fix everything for that family member. I wanted to have the right thing to say or the right thing to do, or I wanted to reach over and take the burdens from that person and put it on myself. I wanted to wipe out the health reports that was trying to attack those that I love so much. I wanted to just write a check for those that are having financial troubles, and I'll just fix their troubles for them. The list just goes on and on and on when we allow it. And this morning, as I'm reading in today's scriptures, today it's all about the borders. Today it happens to be the borders of the promised land for Judah. Now, tomorrow we'll pick up and we'll read about the borders for Manasseh and Reuben and all of the others. But today it focused on the tribe of Judah. 9,200 square miles. It describes it. It tells us where it started, where the southern border began, at the south bay of the Dead Sea, how it ran south of the Scorpion Pass into the wilderness of Zin, and then it went south from there to Hezron, and then it went up to Adar. And in 2019, I wrote the note that said, our life's journey, turn here, turn there, go there, come here. Yeah. And then from there it passed to Asmon until it finally reached the Brook of Egypt, and it followed on to the Mediterranean Sea. And then it keeps going. There's a whole column describing a whole column that we're waking up at 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, whenever you're reading, and we're reading these tedious little descriptions about 9,200 or more square miles of the promised land for the tribe of Judah. Blessings beyond our wildest imagination. I don't know about y'all, but Tom and I have been pricing land right around our area here where we live. We'd like to have some land, a few acres here or there, not 9,200 square miles of land. Have y'all priced 10 acres anywhere near where you live? Oh my goodness. Since COVID, property values have skyrocketed. Skyrocketed. Tom and I, for the last 5 years, have kept saying, it'll come down. It'll come down. It hasn't come down. It continues to go up. 9,200 square miles of blessings God gave them. And all of the produce it produces, all of those grapes we read about that were so big they had to carry them on men's shoulders, the land flowing with milk and honey. They had been traveling in the wilderness, in the desert for 40 years, still maintaining all of the rams, all of the bulls that had to be provided, all of the grain offerings, all of the doves that had to be provided for those sacrifices. They now have 9,200 square miles of fertile soil to produce riches for their families. We don't comprehend the level of blessings we're reading about in today's reading. I hadn't until this morning. That's what we're reading about. Wow. Way over 115 towns. I set out to read and to count the number of towns. I couldn't count it because in verse 45, in verse 45, it stopped enumerating the number of towns, and it says the territory of the tribe of Judah also included Ekron and its surrounding settlements and villages. From Ekron, the valley extended west and included towns, plural, near Ashdod with their surrounding villages, plural. And it also included Ashdod with its surrounding settlements, plural, and villages, and Gaza with its settlements and villages. So I couldn't even count. What was enumerated in two full columns was more than 115 towns that was given to them. Given to them. Blessings was so vast on this Thursday. Grateful Thursday, thankful Thursday. Look how vast the blessings are. Our life journey in God, so very, very much to be grateful for. Unless our eyes are on the things of this world, the struggles, the battles, we don't see it. And I knew right away. See, I listened to today's message first. As I was doing my morning routine, I hit the play button on my Bible app. And I bet I listened to today's message 8 times at least. And I listened to this play. And all I could think about is grateful journal, grateful journal. This is the Israelites' grateful journal, where they were writing out their blessings. And I got to thinking, if I wrote out my blessings, not just 5 things like I tell people to do when I tell them to do a grateful journal. If I just started writing out the blessings God has given me, this book right here can't contain it all. I can't, even those things that has been concerning me. The one family member that's struggling, the number of blessings surrounding that individual in my life, I could write chapters on. The blessings that's in my life as a result of that person. The ones that are struggling with their health, that are overcoming it. The fact that they're overcoming it, I could write another chapter on, because they're not wasting away, whittling away. Their health is not deteriorating. Just because the report came, the report ended up being a blessing, because now they know, and they know what to do, and they know how to pray, and they know where their future is. And strength has come to them because of that report. I can focus on the report. I can focus on the struggle for them, and that's when the little stink bugs come. Or I can focus on the blessings. And this reading today showed me that the only reason I was struggling at all is I'd gotten my eyes off of Jesus, off of him. I was not being Christ-centered, and I had focused my eyes on the battle. All I saw was the kings that had to be destroyed. I was focusing on the battles that had to be won. And I'd stopped focusing on my blessings. I'd stopped focusing on the one who provides the blessings. And how easy it was. I wasn't depressed. I was not in doom and gloom at all. It was just it was a feeling within me. It was just a little shift that was happening, that if I hadn't become aware of it, could have ended up into a full-blown depression, into a full-blown stressful whatever. But see, the daily word redirected me back into the dadgum center of that narrow road. I am, and you guys have been watching my journey because I've been sharing it with you. And then I get to church last night, totally unprepared, with lots of thoughts about this little journey I've been on this week. I've been meditating on the word, how Joshua, the book of Joshua, took on whole new meaning to this week. And what does my pastor do? Impromptu in the middle of church says, "Hey, Elizabeth, I think you've got a testimony you want to give. Would you like to take the microphone?" And up front I went. And guess what I talked about? Oh, yeah, the reading in Joshua. That happened, didn't it, Kadri?
Sure did.
But God, He's not going to leave us where we're at, which, by the way, that's how I'm going to end this thing. So the book of Joshua, how these battles represents what comes against us in our mind. Yeah, they may be physical struggles, but nothing can defeat us unless we let it get into our head. It's when it gets into our head, and what's in our heart determines whether or not what's in our head defeats us or not. And that's why hide this word in our heart so that we might not sin against thee, so that we can win these battles. What's in our heart is why we read. We get this in our heart. So Luke chapter 18, verse 41, Lord, I want to see. I want to see. See, I woke up this morning, and as I listened, I was able to finally see what God has been saying all along to me. Elizabeth, he was just saying, Elizabeth, get your eyes off what's going on around you and get your eyes right back on me. And then my eyes were opened and I was no longer blind and I could see. I got to keep my thoughts on things of eternity, not the temporal things of this world. That's where our hope comes from. Christ in me, the hope of glory. And then Psalms, Luke 18:41, Lord, I want to see your faith. Your faith has healed you. When your eyes are opened, it's your faith that heals you. And then Psalms 86, verse 2, I saved you and trust me. Verse 4, give me happiness. And God, as we give ourselves to Him, He gives us His happiness. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Teach me your ways, verse 11 says. Teach me your ways. Grant me purity of heart. That's what I've just been describing all the way through this. Verse 17, for you, O Lord, help me and you comfort me. And then in here, verse 7, I will call to you whenever I'm in trouble. Psalms 86:7, I will call to you whenever I'm in trouble and you will answer me. One of those things I've got marked in my Bible that I can look anybody in their eyes and with full belief, knowing when I pray, He hears me. When I pray, He answers me every time. Just because it doesn't come back with the answer I wanted or I anticipated or I thought it was going to be does not mean He doesn't answer my prayers. He answers my prayers. It is written, Psalms 86, verse 7, I will call to you whenever